I'm angry and I'm upset with every single one of you guys. You are here to protect the students.
I was bullied out of the school by not only students but teachers.
We're terrified we're going to get picked on and bullied and jumped because that's all that's been happening in these last few weeks.
Weeks, months, and years of pain and pent-up emotion exploding at this school board meeting in Bayville, New Jersey. This gathering, the first since Adriana Kutch, a 14-year-old from Central Regional High School, took her own life earlier this month. Some parents and students saying the school didn't do enough to stop constant bullying.
She was on the floor, blacked out, and you guys didn't do nothing about it.
Her death coming 2 days after video of her being beaten by classmates in the hallway was posted online and then went viral.
Everybody, without exception, who knew Adriana knew she was witty, funny, smart, strong. You know, getting hit in the face with a water bottle didn't hurt Adriana. What hurt Adriana was the embarrassment and humiliation. They just kept coming at her.
Adriana's father, Michael Kutch, saying constant bullying and rumors drove his child to take her own life. The Ocean County Prosecutor's Office confirming to ABC News 4 students seen in that video were charged. 3 of the students were charged with assault-related charges and 1 charged with harassment. Adriana's death, part of what some are calling a nationwide mental health crisis involving teenage girls. According to a CDC report published last week, 57% of teenage girls, a record high, said they felt persistently sad or hopeless in 2021. That's up from 36% in 2011. The CDC also reporting suicide is now the second leading cause of death among all adolescents. Rosalind Wiseman studies youth culture and is the best-selling author of Queen Bees and Wannabes, the book that inspired the movie Mean Girls.
Girls in particular are suffering from sadness and depression and thoughts of suicide that are just unprecedented in my experience of working with young people for 25 years.
Now questions being raised. The bullies, social media, parents, faculty. Who should be held accountable?
I just find it so disgusting. I like how people can record and sit there and laugh at a fight video.
And as the community mourns Adriana's loss, her friends and family are hoping to prevent bullying from claiming the lives of others. For Adriana's best friend, Haley Engeiser, what she remembers most was how her friend lit up a room.
Adriana was like my little sister and my best friend all in one. She loved the ocean, she loved animals. Her personality was the best. Like, she was always so sweet to people, kind-hearted.
Engeiser says Adriana showed no signs that she was being bullied until she was attacked earlier this month.
She never really liked to talk about her feelings. I wish she did, though, so I can understand what she was feeling, and I could have helped her with it.
I got to tell you, Adriana was the most happy, beautiful young lady in the world.
For Adriana's dad, Michael, there is little to soothe a broken heart.
So what happened was my daughter calls me crying, saying, "They jumped me, Dad." And so I rushed to the school. Her nose may have been broken. Both her upper lip was swollen, her bottom lip was swollen, and she had light black bags under her eyes. And she had bruises up and down her legs.
In your darkest of times, have you ever thought bad thoughts that you wish you weren't thinking?
Yeah.
When I heard about Adriana, it was truly like experiencing Mallory's death all over again.
Diane Grossman knows the unbearable pain of losing a child to bullying and how, she says, a moment captured on a phone could lead to a parent's worst nightmare.
This is not a central regional problem. This is a cultural and across the board. The only reason why we're talking about it is because we have actual videotape of what's happened to Adriana. Imagine the kids who there isn't a videotape.
When Nightline first spoke to Grossman and her husband back in 2017, she was seeking answers and justice for Mallory, who took her own life when she was just 12 years old after being bullied by other students at her middle school.
We talked about suicide. This was an open conversation that we had and what suicide and ending your life is and how permanent it is.
Mallory's story is not this like.
Now, Diane and members of Mallory's Army, a group she co-founded alongside her husband, are seeking to prevent future heartbreak for other parents, speaking to schools across the country.
You can learn a lot from kids.
Including Adriana Kutch's school in 2020.
We talk about bullying and its behavior. And I think that school systems like to check boxes. I'm disappointed that, they heard about Mallory, they knew about Mallory, they were warned, and they just continued to do practice as normal.
Central Regional High School expelled the 4 students who attacked Adriana. The acting superintendent releasing an action plan to prevent and respond to future cases of bullying, from additional training for faculty, staff, and parents to recognize potential problem situations, to scheduling a student assembly to discuss bullying. The search for accountability and change may be a long road, but one that begins with small steps.
Hello, my fellow dragons. My name is Felicia Loalbo Melendez.
That's Felicia Loalbo Melendez giving a speech for class president. 11 years old, a 6th grader.
Never, ever, ever be a bully. Never be a bully. Or no one will be talking to you. And I don't want that.
That was a voice memo Felicia once left. Her mom, Elena, says Felicia was bullied in person for years, including her last 2 years at F.W. Holbein Middle School in Mount Holly.
They called her a furry. She was not a furry. They called her gay. They called her straight. They called her bi. They called her all kinds of things.
On February 6th, Felicia's body was found in a school bathroom stall, ruled a hanging suicide by the medical examiner. This coming 2 weeks after her dad died from pancreatic cancer. Elena says Felicia's death was preventable.
My daughter was being tortured within the walls of that school.
As a mother, Elena says she reported the bullying to Holbein administrators in person 4 times and says Felicia sent about a dozen emails to her school counselor, including one just 4 days before her death.
She's telling her teachers. The teachers were witnesses to most of the bullying, physical altercations that were happening in classrooms and on school trips.
When we asked Mount Holly Township School District to confirm this communication, they declined to comment. Instead, the superintendent gave us a statement saying, quote, "The district cooperated fully, including providing surveillance footage and all documents related to the investigation," adding, quote, "We are committed to a culture that involves our entire school community in making our schools safe and secure for every student."
I think the school has continued to sweep the bullying instances under the rug, just like they did with my daughter before her passing.
The Burlington County Prosecutor's Office has since closed this case. They say security footage concluded Felicia was alone in the bathroom, and they've determined no foul play. The office tells us, quote, "The investigation has concluded and arrangements will be made in the near future for Ms. Loalbo to be shown the footage." But Elena says that's not enough. She wants the alleged bullies to at least be questioned and considered a potential factor in her daughter's death.
My next steps will be so that no other parent has to fight like I do, and no other child ever has to suffer like my daughter has.
Elena eventually plans to pursue legal action against Holbein School, but in the meantime, she just hopes something changes. In Mount Holly, Karen Wall, NBC 10.
It's alarm clock, our first alarm clock. Yay!
Keep going.
See, I can do it.
David and Tina Long adored their 17-year-old son, Tyler.
He was the type of individual that could be in the middle of the crowd, not know nobody's name, not know anything about them, and strike up a conversation and be just so at ease.
You envied that about him?
I envied that. I mean, because that's not me. That was him.
Made you proud?
Made me proud.
Tyler enjoyed normal kid things like karate.
Guess what, Dad? I'm winning!
Video games. He even aspired to go to college.
You doing your homework?
Yes.
All the more impressive because Tyler had Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism, which Mom says gave him a unique personality.
And what did that mean in terms of his daily life in school? What would the kids say? What would they do?
He would point out the rules to him quite a bit. Asperger's kids are very rule-oriented. They like things the same every day. And so if someone was talking in class, I know that he would say, you know, we're not supposed to be talking, that's the rule. And, you know, I think that just irritated a lot of them. They saw him as something different than what they were.
What Mom saw as a virtue made Tyler a target at school.
They would take his things from him, spit in his food, call him gay. And just from one day to the next, it was continuous harassment from the other kids in the classroom.
The Longs say this was a constant, well-known pattern of bullying that they brought to the school's attention, but nothing happened.
We started complaining to the school very early on.
Right away?
Yes,
Yeah.
right away.
And what did they say?
You get the same old adage, boys will be boys. You know, how can I stop every kid from saying things that shouldn't be said? What do you want me to do, Mr. and Mrs. Long? I've done all I can.
They say this went on for years, and eventually their fun-loving son disappeared.
I just remember the last couple weeks looking back that it wasn't there. I mean, he just seemed like he was a hollow person.
They had taken something from him.
They had took his pride from him.
On October 17th, 2 months into his junior year, Tyler Long changed out of his pajamas into his favorite t-shirt and jeans, strapped a belt around his neck, and hanged himself.
They're accused of bullying a classmate to the point that she killed herself. Their parents could also face charges. Anna Warner is in Winter Haven, Florida. Anna, good morning.
Good morning, Nora, and good morning, Charlie. Investigators say bullying drove Sedgwick to take her own life. They believe as many as 15 girls were involved in a relentless campaign of harassment. Police say they've arrested these 2 girls now because of what one of them posted online over the weekend.
The sheriff released photos of the 2 girls, one 14 years old and the second just 12. Both are charged with aggravated stalking, a 3rd-degree felony.
In your eyes, what makes these 2 girls' acts criminal?
Because they terrorized her. They did things like, you should die. You should drink bleach and die. You see a pattern of harassment, a pattern of intimidation, and that's what they did. They intimidated this girl, they harassed her, she had no peace.
There was a trigger here for you.
Sheriff Judd says investigators were also troubled by something the older girl posted on social media on Saturday.
She made a comment in reference to, yeah, I bullied Rebecca, and yeah, she's dead, but I don't give a blank. I met with the detectives and their supervisors yesterday afternoon and said, okay, she needs to go to jail. We need to arrest her.
Police said the girls' parents refused to cooperate. Both girls were arrested Monday at their homes. Tricia Norman is Rebecca Sedgwick's mother.
Her birthday Saturday, and I think this is a huge birthday present for her.
Last December, Sedgwick cut her wrists. Then last month, she climbed an abandoned tower in a concrete plant and jumped to her death. Court papers allege the older girl began harassing Sedgwick after she started dating Sedgwick's former boyfriend. The affidavits filed by a police investigator also indicate the younger girl and Sedgwick were once close friends, but that the 14-year-old may have convinced the younger girl to turn on Sedgwick, even getting her to beat up her former best friend.
It just makes me question, where did they learn it from? I mean, kids learn from somewhere.
I think a lot of parents are asking themselves right now, how can this happen?
It shouldn't happen. And it only can happen when parents don't parent their children. You need to know what they're talking about online. You need to know who their friends are. You need to know if they're bullying people at school.
And last night we spoke with the parents of the 12-year-old girl arrested in this case. She expressed remorse to the court, and her father says he feels horrible about what happened, that his daughter will be dealing with the consequences. Those parents say they are cooperating with the police. Now, the father believes that his daughter was led down the wrong path by the older girl, the 14-year-old. He says that his daughter is a straight A student and she's never been in trouble before.